Hello everybody, welcome to one more video on big units of World War II. This time Russian Mechanized Tank Corps for the Battle of Dubno, in the beginning of the Barbarossa German offensive into Soviet Union. So with the help of this very nice rapid fire second supplement, our famous red book, in which you have here the basis for a Soviet medium tank battalion of 1941 based on 10th Tank Division, which is one of the divisions that was at Dubno. And you also have from this book here, you have also a number of units that were also present at Dubno. For instance, on page 5 of this Russian tank units book by Master Richard, you have here more units of the 10th Tank Division, pretty well organized. And from this kind of pages, you easily understand that you need a lot of tanks, of course, because the Russians were tank heavy at the beginning of the war, at the middle of the war, like you saw in Kursk, and at the end of the war. I'll show you later. They were, as you know, very tank heavy. So you have a number of units here that were present at the Battle of Dubno. Dubno is a very interesting battle. It's an incredibly big battle. You have around 4,000 tanks battling each other. Most of them were Russians, others Germans, of course. 6 Russian mechanized tank corps, which is a lot of tanks. More than 3,000 tanks for sure, and of course it's impossible to do it. So you have, I made here a mix between the 8th and the 15th mechanized Russian tank corps. I'm using, of course, that's why I'm doing also the video, the infantry and the artillery of the Kursk video, less the Katyushas, which were only entered in action in July 1941, so they were not in time for Dubno. Dubno is a battle that started a few days later after the German invasion of the 22nd June 1941 and ended on the 30th. Around the 30th, actions were finished around the 30th June. So about 1 week of actions, very ferocious actions and very interesting. Lately there are some very good books coming on the issue also, and more information coming on the issue, which are for several decades no one knew much about this big tank action. So you have here a pool of T-26. I organized this by pools because, I mean, organized by units. I mean, it's also possible, but I find more interesting to organize this thing for this video in particular by pools, so you can see that. Then directly you can, of course, place them on whatever unit you want. This pool of T-26 is still incomplete because it needs at least some 10 more tanks for some of the pages of this book. Russian tank organizations for Barbarossa. So this one is still a little bit short. The BT5s are enough. 4 of them, as far as I could see, is enough. This big pool here of BT7s is also, it has to be big because, for instance, you have, let me check, you see, this 20th Tank Regiment was very heavy on them. You can see plenty of them here, also for the command. So you need plenty of BT7s for some of the battles, for some of the units in the Battle of Dubno. Then you have a small pool of T-28s, of T-35s, one of the most interesting tanks of, I think, ever. Then the early T-34 with the low velocity gun, and a small pool of KVs. So let's see a little bit the brands and how to make these things. I mean, how to make it. Of course, they are made of models, 20mm models. But for instance, I use the die-cast Fabry for the T-26. I ordered. I do it whenever I can. Command versions. Then you for instance, you extract the antennas and you use them, for instance, in other tanks that don't have that antenna. So which makes our work easier. Do the same with first to fight 251s, German 251s, the Czech tanks, the 35Ts and 38Ts. Do it whenever you can. Always buy the command version so you can extract aerials, antennas. Okay. So these are Fabry. That one is a little bit for Frankenstein tank. It's a mini general chassis, 3D printed with mini irons leftover turret. These ones here are Mini General, these BT5s, very straightforward models. These ones are the beautiful Mario Laranja 3D printed resin kits of the BT7. BT7 is one of the most, for me at least, one of the funniest vehicles of World War II, with very elegant lines. Even if with 15mm frontal armor plate, it was not properly, very difficult to destroy. Many of these tank commanders you can see here are Shan miniatures from Spain. All others are the Orion modern tank commanders in soft plastic, and they suit, of course, very well also World War II, because you can see the totality of the equipment and uniform. More Orion here, and this one here is Mini General also. This T28. This one is BPM, and these two with the latest turret, only a few handful were made of this T28, are also Mini General. So this group is entirely plastic 3D printed. Now for S models from China, these lovely 2 kits in a box, and this group of T35, which is what I mean. This multi-turret is always, as everyone knows, very interesting to have more Shan miniatures on top of the turrets. And this group here is the sorry, let's do it like this. Yeah, is the T34 low velocities, T34 1940 with low velocity, if I'm not mistaken, F11 gun, right? So the F11, as you can see here, is a kind of it has an inverted structure in relation to the 1941 gun that was placed in famously in the other T34s that follow these ones. This is the first of them. The gun was not a big thing, but even so, much better than almost everything that the Germans had to throw against them. So it made quite an impact in the battlefield from the beginning. So these here are my own conversions of some Matchbox. This one is an Eshi conversion. And this, I mean, as you can see, I modeled the mantlet to make the gun to become lower, as you can see. And like this, you have a reasonable F11 low velocity gun. These ones are true 1940 models. This group here, these 6 here are all plastic conversions from Matchbox. One is an Eshi, others are Fujimi, I think. And this group here is Mini General 3D printed. Finally, the KV group with Eshi, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let's try to focus this thing here, okay? KV2s here with the 152mm gun, and KV1s. All this group is Eshi. The one that is not is that Altair diecast over there. That thing has the surplus armor. It shouldn't be here, but well, it's barely noticeable, the difference. So, and the rest you have already seen it. The command is the same that you have showed you for Kursk. There are some AAA guns with the Maxim machine guns. There is a T-38 amphibious tank and some reconnaissance BA-10s. Rest is, of course, already seen. So this is my approach to a Russian tank corps for the beginning of the war, especially for the Battle of Dubno. I hope you have enjoyed, and next I'll show you, taking advantage of that big group of infantry and artillery, I'll show you the late Russian tanks and what is necessary to make the that recent book that came out, maybe 1-2 years ago, Zillow Heights, okay, by Steve Shan. So see you next. Bye bye. Thank you.